Question: why do I struggle with life so much? That was a question that I was asked the other day. And I wanted to share the answer or my thought process with you because I'm sure that guy is not the only guy. Welcome to the Thrive Show. I am your host, James Borman. And if you are coming through, please do let me know. Integrity time. Time to put it on the line. So I'm going to ask you a question. Why do you think that you struggle at times in your life? Why do you think that you struggle at times to cope with life? And I want you to put that in the comments, all right? Answer that question. Oh, man, midweek. It is a beaut of a morning. Haven't seen anyone yet, so the world's mine for still. Right, let's answer this question. So, when we look at our lives, let's say we live to 80. I don't know what the average lifespan is. I'm sure it's not far off 80. Let's say we live to 80. Let's say we go to college, right? And we get to college and we finish college. That means that 18 years of that 80 years, only 18 years we're in education. And when we're in education, we are learning consistently. And what we do through that process is we kind of create character, we kind of create ourselves, we learn more about ourselves. It's that experience, right, in terms of building ourselves up through junior school, through secondary school, through college. Some go on to university and develop themselves more. But kind of like when we finish college or university, we're alone. We're out in the sticks, a bit like Mad Max. And we're trying to figure everything out ourselves. Now, when this lad asked me, why do I always struggle to cope with life? My theory is that when was the last time you were taught how to deal with life? When was the last time that you were taught to deal with anxiety? When was the last time you were taught how to handle stress? When was the last time you were taught how to manage your time? So when it comes down to us and the way that we live our lives and the way that we evolve from being a young man in our 20s through to our 30s and suddenly experiencing marriage and kids and changes and pressures and responsibilities, to then suddenly going into our 40s where we come out the other side of kids and we're stuck in a job and now looking for a purpose, you can see we naturally evolve through life as a man, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of the time we don't know how to handle those emotions. A lot of the time we don't know how to handle ourselves and what we're feeling because we don't educate ourselves through that. We're trying to figure it out ourselves. We're trying to watch YouTube videos, Facebook videos, Instagram videos. We're trying to read books. We're trying to watch films. We're trying to figure this out as we go along. We're trying to understand ourselves more. But sometimes it can be very difficult to put all of that into action. My job is almost like being a teacher. I'm a mentor. Now I've lived a bit of a life. You know, I've gone through a lot of emotions. I'm quite emotionally intelligent. I'm quite life savvy. You know, I've been through an awful lot, good and bad. And I don't proclaim to know everything. Not everything I say is right. But one thing that I try and do is re-educate men in a way that I know that works. I try and re-educate men how to deal with their emotions, how to have more control. So how can you cope? Well, this is where I feel that you have to invest some of your time and your energy into yourself. Because nobody's coming along to save you. No one's coming along on a horse like a knight in shining armor and is coming along and is going to save you. No one. So we've got to be able to do this ourselves. You've got to be able to have that energy, that drive, that passion to try and figure this out a little bit more yourself. So that means re-educating yourself. Now, if you don't ever invest time or energy into your own personal development, you've got to ask yourself, how is anything ever going to get better? Now, I feel very fortunate that I was in the Marines, and I had a very basic level of standards. Okay, they were very high standards, but it taught me a lot about my principles, my values, my character, key components that I feel that make us up as DNA, our DNA as men. And sometimes we kind of have to step up ourselves. We kind of have to step up to the plate in terms of, right, I need to re-educate myself here. Because no one's going to be doing this for me. I have to do this. One of the reasons I'm in the places that I am mentally and emotionally is that when I came out of my very dark spell after post-military, those 3 years, I pretty much have worked on myself every day for 6 years. Every day. I've answered questions that I asked myself. I've learned about how to handle my own emotions. I've learned how to manage my time. I've learned how to be a businessman. I've learned how to be a dad. I've learned how to evolve as a dad, evolve as a mentor, all of those things, all of that. And that is through a process. That's by doing courses, going to seminars, networking, meeting people. And all of that is the accumulation of bringing all of that together. Okay, bringing all of that together. You know, on the 28-day program, we teach foundations that can change lives. In the mastermind, we do daily work that in the long term helps people on their journey and their mission. That saves lives. We're re-educating. Why do I struggle to cope with life so much? Because you're not doing enough to re-educate yourself to how to live. We're not learning how to manage our time, how to gain more control, how to handle our emotions, how to strive forwards. And it's a difficult one because nobody's there to like they were at school. There was no teacher all of the time to say, hey, sir, how do I get out of this? How do I move forwards in this respect? Because there's no one there for you anymore in that respect. Sometimes we're too afraid to talk to our wives or our friends about it. So if I could give you any advice, it would be to find somebody that can help you in terms of mentorship, or finding a course of some form, constantly re-educating you and teaching you about how to go about building systems, routines and habits. Whatever it is, whether it's me, whether it's your local PT, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a therapist, whether it's somebody. But unless we find that teacher or that person, and it's all well and good listening to videos like this, but it's actually being involved in practically doing it, because the process is what's key here. Listening and processing, all of that stuff's great, but unless you're actually taking part, unless you're actually involved in it and you're getting stuck in, nothing will ever change. Nothing changes unless you change. And you just end up coping. I don't know about you, but coping doesn't sound very appealing to me. I don't want to fucking cope through life. I want to control my way through life. I want to thrive in life. I want to have passion in life. You know, existing and coping are not words that I want to associate with the way that I live my life. So I'll ask you, what are you going to do about it? That's my thing. What are you going to do about it? Implementation is absolute key. And if you want help with this, guys, like here is a basics example. I am doing a lesson this time next week on a webinar. It's free. I mean, it doesn't cost you a penny, but I'm going to teach you how to create a 10-year vision and reverse engineer that so on a day-to-day basis you can show up. Okay, the link's in the bio or or the write-up somewhere here. Go in, register, and do yourself a favor and learn something about how to create that path. All right, guys, have an amazing Wednesday. Enjoy the sun, and I'll catch up with you soon.